Redditors who have followed through in finding hot MILFs in your area. What happened? My computer and I got matching viruses. 10/10 would find hot MILFs again. Those websites are filled with spam bots pretending to be women. However, there actually are a few bored neglected housewives on the more legit ones. Mostly they just flirt with the idea of meeting up then flake, which I guess is not dissimilar to regular hookup sites apps. But I did have an extended fling with a married woman that I met from one of those sites for a little while back in college. A bit homely, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get laid back then. She never wanted me to use protection, which I stupidly obliged to. It was hot. Okay, but surprise surprise, she got pregnant. I dipped, of course, and the husband never found out as far as I'm aware. I still look her up on FB from time to time. The kid was of the special needs type. He's grown up now, and he actually uses Reddit under the username of the Laughing Joker or something cringy like that. True story. I had an ad pop up that said there was a horny slut ready to duck in my area less than 5 meters from me. I very slowly turned around to make sure she wasn't standing in the doorway just watching me. I think it was meant to say 5 kilometers. Expectation: hot MILF. Reality: new computer. If this question had said serious replies only, there would be absolutely no replies. I went to their houses and installed air conditioning. Now they are cool MILFs in my area. My ads are more realistic. Glance at a mildly attractive bus driver in your area. For the one I clicked, the M apparently stood for men. Me and Greg are happy now. Worked like a charm for me. The craziest part was that I live in the same area as your mom. Alanis Morissette is on tour this summer. You want single MILFs that need to get rid of some angst? Then this it. I'm gonna be all over it. All she wanted was a quick duck, and I wanted a long-term relationship with at least 13 children. I work at a soda shop in a town with a bunch of attractive LDS moms who flirt with me in the drive-thru as they buy their Diet Cokes with lime and coconut. I've never seen so many tall blonde MILFs drive white Honda minivans. Sometimes come back to say they are visiting me. I don't know how to make the next move from there, but someday I will. Edit. Spelling. Edit 2. If I get fired, I'll let you guys know too. It worked. I quickly acquired hundreds of women through the ads. The odds are good, but the goods are odd. At first it seemed unbelievable. How could this many 40-something women be interested in sex with me? I could hardly believe my luck. But then it all started happening. Before I knew it, 5 hideous, dirty, filthy sluts were fighting to suck me off. But why was that red-headed one putting on a strap-on dildo? Ladies, let's not get too. But before I could even get the word hasty out of my finger-filled mouth, a ghastly rubber contraption had been hastily shoved in that darkest of places. I never knew what such intense penetration would feel like, but in that moment I knew. I knew very well indeed. Before I could finish saying, "Wait just a blasted moment," these 3 brown-headed ladies were clambering to get their fists in my rectum. Wowie, I exclaimed in ecstasy. By the end of the night, they revealed to me that they had been men wearing wigs and dresses. Homeless men. From the smell of them, I wouldn't recommend the experience to anyone. But my goodness, this weekly routine has come to mean more to me than anything else in my life. I love you, guys. All I found was some weird Indian guy in a warehouse. I met a nice Nigerian prince. We are still friends to this day. He even pays for my AIDS treatments with the money he stole from me. If you're old enough to have been online during the early Yahoo chat room days, before it became 95% bots, truly the glory days. I found her on Match.com. She's the single mother of 2 teenagers, close in age to my own kids. We've been dating for 8 months, and I will probably propose soon. I didn't get ducked, but my computer did. Had to take it to the computer doctor for STD treatments. Kind of related story. This former co-worker we used to have was a ducking goon that nobody liked. After work he went onto these sites on the work computer out back and wrote a slew of messages to seemingly girl he could PM. He would pretty much write the same-ish message every time. About how if they are looking for a boy, they're talking to the wrong person. Because he is a man who likes to duck. He also always wrote about going down on women and licking the sweet juices from them. As to how we found out, he forgot to X out of the window, or log out, or delete history, any of it. So the owner came into work the next day and was crying laughing reading through the messages while we all gathered around. Afterward for a while we dubbed this guy the Juice Man for reasons stated before. But that's certainly the best attempt at a local meetup story I know of. I ended up marrying her. You've been warned. I used to hook up with a MILF sort of. She was 10 years older than me, so cross between MILF and older friend's sister, which she was. Pretty awesome for NS6. There's not a whole lot of expectation that things could actually work out and she was my friend's sister so she wanted to keep things quiet which was a plus for me. And she was a freak. Lonely divorcee that needed excitement and was down to try anything. So, younger 19-year-old me on Craigslist in 2008ish talked to some MILF who posted a post titled like, "Horny MILF for fun" and set up to go over to her place. Terrible idea, but horny F. I get there and go to the back porch as instructed. 50/50 chance I was gonna die or get laid. Go into the screen door and she's sitting there. Very drunk in shorts and a tank with no bra. She is thick. Big tits. Attractive dirty blonde hair. She gives me a beer and are chatting a bit. Apparently her son and his friends are in the basement playing games and listening to music cause all I could hear was Hoobastank and 3 Days Grace blaring. So we keep talking and then she gets on her knees and takes her top off and undoes my pants and just goes to town on me. I mean it felt like she was trying to see if she could suffocate on D. So, like any guy who has jerked off to belladonna porn, I began treating her face like a UFC opponent on the ground. After 10 or so minutes of that she bent over and point blank said, "Just put it in my ass," to which I did. No lube. No nothing but a gallon of spit. I stuffed her like a Build-A-Bear for about 15 minutes then finished in her. She got up, lit 2 cigs, never put any pants on. We smoked and chilled for a half hour. She asked to suck me off and I obliged. She finished, we said out goodbyes and she went in. Overall about an hour or so. I went home and played Halo 3. Very nice ladies. They just wanted someone to talk to. Janet bakes wonderful butterscotch cookies. That's how I met your mother. The hot MILF in town ended up being my mom and my friend was 3 steps ahead of me. Needless to say, I was grossed out and I straight up fled. Ended up meeting my mom over an embarrassing cup of coffee in Starbucks. My 70-year-old uncle clicked on one of those meet single women in your area ads and then had to ask me for help on stopping all the pop-up porn pages on his phone. Let's just say I didn't need my other kidney. Found my 5th grade teacher, I think. It was not fun to see her like that. I still get spam emails to this day. The entire thing is just data harvesting. Just coach Little League Soccer. Can't really tell. Since I use adblock, they are not interested anymore. Done this twice. Both times left me feeling really awful about myself. 1. Met this woman about 20 years older on Tinder. Extremely attractive and charming. Went on one date. It was great. And she invited me back to her place. Her children were all home. Her and I are going at it and they start banging on the door. She gets dressed. Checks on the kids. I toss my clothes on and run out the side door and call an Uber. 2. Met this woman who needed young guys to duck her on camera. This was a long time ago and I'm fairly sure it was through Craigslist. Turns out she's a moderately successful porn star. Star is really an overstatement, but that's her job. She was in her 50s and I was around 21. She came to my place to see if we would be a good match. 6 was great and pretty crazy, but just the entire thing felt really gross because it was an audition. How did you even start this process? Find them. Is there a sub for this? Asking for me. I misread the title of the ad. It was for Mormons and lovely furs. They were lovely. Found a hot MILF. Not by clicking an ad. Went out a couple of times. Banged. Found out she was still married and living with her husband. Didn't want that reputation. Broke it off. Had casual sex with another one who was in the middle of a divorce. Both agreed to keep it casual. Broke it off because we were both catching the feels. A 2-year-long relationship and some fond pages in my memory book. Just don't go through those dumb ads. There probably are MILFs looking for a duck in your area. Just gotta go find them. Also, lower your standards. We did the deed as any lovers would. Long story short, she's my grandma now because I gave her to my dad's dad for Christmas this past year. Not me but a co-worker. He ended up going trough with it from a Pornhub ad. He got fired a day later and I have never heard from him again. He was a strange dude. This was back in 2006. I talked with this hot Latina MILF on CL. I went to her house at a really fancy condo only to discover, capital A, it was not her house. Capital B, it was her husband's. Capital C, the same husband who just finished beating her and took off. Capital D, apparently I arrived after the cops left. Yeah, nope. I've never done any of it, but have a related story. I was reading articles comments on fuck.com many years ago, when a banner ad for such a site came up. It was my newly ex-girlfriend, but the picture was taken in my bedroom. It felt creepy to say the least. You know that myth about waking up with no kidneys in an ice bath? Yeah, that. Not me, but I know a guy who was really into MILFs so much that he went all the way to Egypt for one. He got into a major fight though over it. I had to cancel because my de-enlargement pills never arrived. Oh, circumflex Y with diuresis copyright airing. They are human beings, with especially high hopes and expectations for anyone they date. Don't toy with them because that's an easy heart to break. I work with one. Her and I started flirting quite a lot when we would pass by each other. Ended up to where her and I would find an excuse to go out to the warehouse together. No one goes out there unless they have to. Her and I frequently hook up out there to this day. OP, guys, tell me your MILF stories. Trolls, it's free real estate. I clicked the link. Nothing happened. Then night fell. All was quiet. But then, there was a pair of eyes. From the forest. Then 2. Then 7. Then 100. And more. Hundreds of MILFs. Melting from the darkness. Not wanting to remarry. Only wanting to duck. To taste blood. There were so many of them. They came from the trees. In the night. Eventually I ran out of ammunition for the rifle. Then a shotgun. And when I had fired the last round from my 45, they closed into the house. Great piles of them littered the yard. I took up an axe. The horny mature women near me would not have me today. When the morning came, and it was quiet once more, I looked upon the fields of slaughtered MILFs. The axe slid from my hands, and hit the ground with a wet thud. I fell to my knees, soaked in the blood of 1,000 horny singles. I screamed into the morning sun, "Look upon my works, you mighty," and despair. Sadly the only MILF I tried is my wife Dart, and I only wish she wanted to do it much more often lol. For some reason ever since I installed an ad blocker none of the hot MILFs in my area are interested in me anymore, comma. Lmao. My buddy showed me my 2nd grade teacher on one of the sites lol. Small town is funny. What do you think happened? She baked me cookies, read me a story and tucked me in. Done. I had 2 last year, a 55-year-old and a 50-year-old. The 55-year-old and I had a good run of a couple months, going out and doing things together, me fixing it around her house, and lots of sex. The 50-year-old ended up being a waste of time. She would bail on most of our set dates, so ditched her pretty quickly, but still lots of sex when I did see her. I assume you get viruses on your computer and your genitals and you wake up in a motel bath without a kidney. Also you owe child support for some legal reason for kids that are 22 years old. I've clicked on it before, and have tried these sites in various states cities I've moved over the years. The hot and ILF are inaccurate. Most of the women I found were either bots, copy-paste profile of other woman, including the I'm kicking life the curb and starting a new line at the start, or are angry at their ex and trying to get even by having as much fun as possible. However, the high count of drama and low count of teeth, and I'm not into heavy set women, were a no from me dog. I worked for one of these sites. It was a mix of real women who were paid to flirt until you wanted to meet, then flake, and bots that sent out messages to hook users and transfer conversations to said women. I believe in all the time I worked there we only actually had a dozen or so real women sign up to the site. Not mine but my cousins. He saw a MILF was in his area and he went to her house because she put her address in her bio. He got to her house and this random lady and my cousin asked for the woman. It turns out the MILF was a child and they found out that out because they checked the girl's phone. They said they lived 3.1 miles from my home, but it was actually 3.3, and I gave up at 3.2 and went back home. I actually worked for one of those sites as a programmer for a while and know exactly how they work behind the scenes. What happened after you click the ad is that you get some messages, pay for a premium membership, talk to the girl for a bit, and then get ghosted. Holy crap, it was amazing. You meet all these horny middle-aged women, often freshly divorced, and they are down to do some real freaky stuff. Plus they'll cook you breakfast in the morning. I don't know why some dudes have a fixation on inexperienced virgins. Older women are the bomb. I'm glad my friend turned me onto it. I assume we're talking about Target. Those ads will just fry your computer and or steal your credit card information. Sometimes Reddit's timing is crazy. I was on a site similar to Chat.Omegle but more dirty today and met a hot MILF. It got hot quickly and she immediately wanted me to come over and also sent me O's hair phone number. Still contemplating whether or not I should risk it and drive to O's hair place. My question to you guys, what do you think about this? Any chance she is legit? So far the comments are innocent, giving me too much hope. Ducked my wife so hard. After my ex-fiancé but before the woman I eventually married, all I did was hook up with MILFs. I was 25 and had a 44-year-old duck buddy and it was the best sex of my life to this day. All I'm saying is this should not be attempted at all cost when in the Philippines.